by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. This is one of our public roundtables. The 1 by 1 Million initiative is a virtual incubator. It's the only global virtual incubator headquartered in Silicon Valley. The mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. So that, if we succeed, $1 trillion of global GDP and 10 million jobs. This is not a term project. We are working on it with a very, very long-term, global vision. Our reason, our justification for existence is really to help you achieve your dreams. So that's why we're here, and hopefully that's why we're here. This is our 93rd roundtable, and we are obviously been doing this for a long time, and when you do something for that long, you develop a lot of insights and experience, and you recognize the patterns of what's coming up over and over again. And we have created the premium program based on what we have seen over such a long period of time. Curriculum with, patterns and recurring issues captured in specific modules with videos and case studies. This wide-ranging sample of entrepreneurs and their issues have enabled us to do. Our work with the roundtables, the mentoring sessions, and the premium program, we also keep up a very active publishing schedule. And this book from M1M House is the 99% entrepreneurs, fortune in the middle of the pyramid. We recognize that over 99% of the entrepreneurs are getting rejected by investors, and yet we believe that a very large number of those can be also successful entrepreneurs, but they just have to make different decisions, different strategic decisions in how they navigate their, journeys. And that's the topic that the other 99% entrepreneurs deals with case studies and analysis. So if you're live tweeting the show today, use #1M1M. That's our Twitter account. That's hashtag for the show. And then our Twitter account is @1M by 1M and @Sramana. We'll have, tons of content for you to follow if you're interested in our content. We produce very, very high quality content. Some of you already, and that's how you know about us. But content is a very big part of our strategy in spreading the benefits of entrepreneurship and so forth. Our content channel, therefore, is YouTube. So all our videos are on the YouTube channel. You will find recordings of every single session, roundtable at the YouTube channel. And finish working with the entrepreneurs with their presentations, I will open up the line and you will be able to call in. So whoever wants to call in, please follow these call-in instructions. We'll put them again, ready to take calls. Okay, we are starting with Vishnu Krishna. Vishnu, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're working on, that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Sramana. Good morning to all of you, depending on where you're coming in from. My name is Vishnu Krishna. I'm speaking from New Delhi. I have my own consulting firm called Orient Consulting. And on the screen, you can see all relevant email, website, etc. I firm just months ago viewed to assist foreign enterprises all around the world who are interested in the Indian market, who are in the Indian market but don't know what to do next. It is to latch to global enterprises or enterprises that think globally but are interested in a strategic investment in India. Now I prefer to deal with small and medium scale enterprises mainly because of their quick decision making, whether in favor or against, and they could be anyone, product, service or technology providers. I like to deal with
medium enterprises. What is the threshold? What range? Yeah.
for anybody doing a turnover of about 3 or less would struggle to sustainably in India. Invest, I'm not saying in greenfield operations here. All take long-term market view of the Indian market. It would be difficult, and this is coming from personal experience. I'm sure organizations with small turnover that can think long, but my experience tells me otherwise. And then on the side, there are organizations that have given up too early, but they are quite good in they do in their global operations, but they've given up too early on India. So, there are exceptions on either side. I like to deal with companies that have new technologies compared to what's being used in India, and that have an eventual benefit for consumers and communities. Like to Indian companies that are seeking international alliances, but that's probably 1% of my working time. I deal with companies that understand, recognize, and appreciate the difference between a consultant and an agent. And coming from on this one is many come across listed companies, but answer is, look, we don't know what a consultancy is, and so just help us, and we'll give you a success fee when we generate it in India. Now, the agent's job, that's commission, and that's not what I try to bring my knowledge of the market, the trends, the opportunities, to and connect the dots with the capabilities of my client, and that it makes business sense for them.
What is your
I used to work for the Australian Trade Commission, the Australian federal government, before I started this, and for a year with the small scale Australian enterprise, and that's where the threshold of 3 million came in from. Before I represented a Japanese company in India, again in business development for about 6 years. So that's been the last roughly 30 years. In international trade and investment and in business development home market in the Indian market for a very long time now.
Segments that have identified that you want to specialize in? Because you can't do this on a scale. You leverage your background and you have to focus on something that your background shines, right? People in a little consulting firm like yours, people really depending on your background.
So, should we just go along, because the answer might be in one of the following slides.
Okay, going.
Okay. What I propose to bring to the table is, firstly, so I have a tailor-made solution for. Sorry, I don't have a fixed solution for each of my clients. One size does not fit all, and I have to listen, and where I don't think enough information has been provided, ask questions, and that works out generally well in the long run. I don't promise them the moon, but I tell them that this is a growing market, and it's a consumption-based market as opposed to China, which is more on exports. However, it is also a market that will test your patience to the limits. So of cautious optimism in there. I have structured processes. I have cultivated over my various experiences, and I bring the before. I like outside the square. What else can I do for my client besides what I would do in the scheme of things? I like to believe that I provide honest and services. So I was still previous slide, please.
You need to speed up. We don't have time to go through line by line.
Yeah. So that's my value proposition. But just defined. So looking for international companies that want to invest in the Indian market and looking for some credible market knowledge and partners. please. Customer acquisition strategy is probably not the best in the world. We talked about it. So, last 4 months, I've to reach out to across Europe, Asia, and to US and Canada only through public available mailing lists. In the bulk of it, and the efficiency is extremely poor in that.
Consulting like this. Consulting, and consulting is not sold this way. You need to define your target audience in a much more granular way, and I think that leverages your resume much more. See, these value propositions that you listed, no one's going to pay you for these value propositions.
Mm-hmm.
What people pay for consulting is referrals. Actually, somebody knows somebody and will introduce you somewhere who is highly of you and will, believe you can solve their problem and you have solved somebody else's problem. That's how consulting sales occur mostly. Until a brand position where you can do all this other stuff that you're talking about. It looks like you don't really have any track record in this mode. You can't really sell cold record. Build track record, you have to work within a referral network.
Mm-hmm. So on this slide, which is on the screen, I've just put down 2 instances of where I think I might be able to get a breakthrough. Mm-hmm. The first one is about a sports content management company from Europe. They're quite big. They're in their own right, and they had experience in India a few years ago, and they had to write off a huge sum of money. After I first contacted them, and they said India is out of bounds for us, but a little bit of assistance helped. Today we are in the stages of getting a contract, following which my services would begin to them over the next 6 to 8 months. Hopefully that will happen. A friend of mine from Australia who's a businessman and buying the Indian market for the past more than 2 years, if I remember well, make a decision. I set up my own company. He had my website, and he felt confident about investing in my company, that I able to sort of help him achieve his objectives. He hasn't invested, as I speak, a penny yet, but likes to just small hope.
I have a couple of comments. First and foremost, you should not take investment in this company, because consulting companies should not have investors. Consulting companies do not have the structure to really give returns to investors normally. I don't know what your friend is thinking, but if he knows what he's doing, he should not be investing in consulting companies. He may be investing in you personally. That's a different thing. The point is, you have experience in Australia. If you look at resume where you can sell yourself credibly a bit, India corridor. That's where you start developing your business.
Yeah, that started as well. But Australia is a funny country. It's a big, small country. It's populous more than Delhi. Fortunately, the number of internationally capable companies who are interested in India at any given point is not too many. So after the first couple of months, when I reached out many Australian companies with very warm response from most of them, I started to sort of go across the other time zone and started contacting companies from Europe. But Australia is not over yet.
Build it brick by brick. You need the first customers so that you have some references, right? So people can look at your work with those companies and they can act as reference customers and so forth. Without that, you will not make a lot of headway. So you have to go within your referral network and find 5 customers where you can really prove yourself and go from there.
I completely agree with you. It's probably, I mean, I need to find the first 2 from when go to the next 2 and then the next 3. But it's just it's trying to get the first 2, and that's why I've had to sort of put my basket.
But the way you're presenting value proposition, if you came to me with that value proposition, I wouldn't work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Proposition. A value needs to be much more concrete. You know, listen. I'm not going to pay somebody who tells me I know how to listen. Everybody, there are tons of people who can say they know how to listen. That's not a value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
More concrete, much more, stuff business can relate with. What you do in India that somebody in Australia or some other country needs. That's how you position, that's how you differentiate, that's how you message. You message off.
Okay. Go back to that.
Yep. Example that. Selling consulting is one of the hardest things to do because it's into concrete terms. It's difficult.
Okay. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Good luck. Harsh, you're up next.
Yeah. Hello, Sramana. Good morning and good evening to people wherever they are. My name is Harshal Vaidya. I live in Pune, India, and I work for a company called Capgemini as a software technical architect. Evaluating a concept, or rather validating a concept of mine, and that's why I want to pitch today. The idea is to enter the foreign currency exchange market. Almost every foreign currency transaction in India is routed through a established bank. Most of the bank, for inward remittance, they charge a spread of about 4 paise, whereas for an outward remittance, they charge round about a spread of 1 rupee paise, which is quite a lot. Charge a transfer fee or a transfer charge on the top of the transaction that they are doing. So I want to build a platform. I just named it Forex Ninja, and as I told you, I'm still working on it. Can enable individuals and companies to do peer-to-peer foreign currency exchange, bank exchange rate. So interbank is the actual exchange rate at which the currencies are getting exchanged in the larger market. But banks, for their profit purposes, they offer a spread to the people who want to exchange. So the proposition is exchange rate will be much more lucrative for individuals and companies that want to engage in a foreign exchange. The value proposition is to make it a peer-to-peer exchange, so that a person outside India was exchange currency with person traveling from US back into India, or versa. The strategy is to charge a transfer fee for the transaction, which of course is of the fact that it should not come equal the spread of the bank, and that's the way to monetize the solution.
So, few questions here. First and foremost, this is a highly regulated industry. Foreign exchange is a completely regulated thing, especially in India. How are you supposed to get this thing going with terms of those regulations?
Ma'am, I'm already. Sorry, go ahead.
This?
I've been. I have a school friend who's a lawyer. Typically deals with company law in per se. And I've been having a lot of conversations with him. He's doing a bit of research for me. And at the moment, from what we found out, or rather what I have found out from him, is that this is possible. Williams of the FC, the RBI's acts for foreign exchange. Since the banks can do it, even the private players can do it. There are already private players, but again, their model is to reduce the spread as compared to the banks. Whereas what we're trying to do out here is a completely peer-to-peer exchange. And of course, this idea isn't new. It's already being tried and tested by a couple of companies which are based out of US as well as Europe. And my slides even talk about them.
And
so for now, ma'am,
to this,
right,
to be in this business.
So I could come again, please, ma'am.
You need any license, kind of license to do this?
We do. So you need a sort of a foreign exchange provider license, which is over by regulatory. So to go through that entire process of obtaining license and then setting up a complete online platform behind it.
Yes. I have to be very careful. If you go down a path, you must know whether it's viable or not, because this is UT handling the foreign exchange. There's also peer stuff going on, and it's to me whether India allows that. So anyway, I have
sure.
to work.
I'll be doing much more research. Yeah.
The other I have so far is I would name like Forex Ninja. When money, people tend to be very conservative and choose a conservative name,
right,
or a scary name, and I wouldn't apply that to a foreign exchange.
Thanks a lot. All right, so target customer segments, that's a fairly easy thing. Students that are studying outside, basically students typically who work, study at universities outside India. A lot of Indian expats, Indian professional on long-term assignments in the US, or any other country, and of course businesses, and the small companies that do trade between India and other foreign countries. My focus is at US because most of the remittance comes from US and Europe. So that's where
India is again highly regulated in terms of how much foreign exchange you can take out of India. You can have as much foreign exchange into India as you want, but taking foreign exchange out of India is highly regulated.
Aware of that too. So most of the, we are still doing a lot of research on the regulations part, but at least as far as the ideas or the concept goes, it seems like it's doable.
But if you talk about Indian students studying at foreign universities who want cash, there is a cap on how much they can access, and that's you unlimited amount of cash transferred. Even your exchange, I imagine you're going to be subject to some of those same regulations. If you're viewed as that is helping people get around the foreign exchange regulations, the RBI is going to shut you down.
That's absolutely not my intention, ma'am.
Okay.
It's actually an alternative to the banks that charge you a large spread.
Okay.
And an effective alternative. Next is customer acquisition strategy. Target campaigns, banner ads on especially expat-oriented websites. Word of mouth once the platform builds up and people start exchanging, and any other mainstream news or trade-oriented websites, banner ads over those two. Is open for
money. Come up with customer acquisition strategies that are more guerrilla and not so money-oriented. Validate this. You're going to need a customer acquisition strategy that is affordable, because you don't get any financing to start with, so you have to, you may get friends and family financing, but you have to validate the concept on and you need a customer acquisition strategy for that.
Right. I'll work on that. Positioning right now in India, there is no platform that provides peer-to-peer foreign exchange service, or for that matter, even when you're yourself a market maker. But outside, we've got TransferWise and CurrencyFair. These two companies have done great in the US and the European market. TransferWise has very recently added Indian rupee as a currency for inward remittance. So I said, outward way is a little difficult. So they've done it inwards. It's, I think, only 3 days that they've launched it, because I got an email from them just in the past week, or maybe on Monday or Tuesday, I think. And CurrencyFair also has plans to launch Indian rupee as a currency to be traded on their exchange. Both their primary market is exchange between Europe and US, and they are not yet very aggressively targeting India or India per se. And that's where I want to come in as a competitor or as a service in India. So I think that this has a first mover advantage if executed properly.
So the real competition you're going to have in terms of the from US to India, for example, is digital.
You mean Western Union? Yeah. I think I've got fairly big challenges. One is the peer-to-peer model really does not work unless or it takes a long time for people to understand and start executing. Till they have to be a market maker. So if somebody is trying to do inward remittance to provide them the equivalent in rupee that they're looking for as a part of the exchange. So the problem I haven't been able to think through or to solve at the moment, and I'm still working on it as to how it will happen. But it almost amounts to some sort of funding needed to be a worker in that market.
That's not going to work. No one's going to give you funding to, unless you can validate it somehow. People not going to. Indian investors don't work like that.
So I think just having a peer-to-peer currency exchange site would be the most decent way to validate this. And
yeah, to make it work without assuming that somebody is going to give you a large chunk of money to be the market maker. Business is the fly is if it's regulation-wise viable, and if you can validate it C2C business without market making being a necessary part of it.
And, so at the moment, I'm doing this all on my own. Right now, I do not. I have I'm trying to research myself, trying to get help from wherever I can. But I need to have a team, and that's what I'm working on.
You really need to have a team. You can start dating on your own. Until this validated, you need to build the site, and you need to start developing the pieces. You do that while you're holding on to your job and doing this on the side. You can until some with which to make a decision whether you are going to do this business or not. I don't know over this idea yet.
Oh no, I'm currently, of course, going to first validate it and take it to where at least I have certain customers exchanging currency on the website, and only then.
Good news. You can continue working on the web business as long as you have, and you can work on it on the side while keeping your job, and that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's about it, ma'am. That was what I had. Thank you.
Okay, we're to Senthil Nachimusu. Let me find your slide, Senthil. Here we go.
I'm all the way down in the last. Just me. Hi, Sramana. Hi, everyone.
I recognize the picture.
Okay. Nothing has changed since we had a conversation with Sramana. To give a background, Dialogues as a product company developing a lot of products for merchants. And the product is still in the market. We building the product. We won an award from Microsoft as the application in 2012. 2013, we tried to market it in the US and India. We had limited success. Some cash, so that's where the story of comes in. We started helping out our friend. One, two, and now we wanted to make it as a business because there's good interest in startup market where the engineering talent for early startups, and to pitch in with our skills with both as well as our consulting skills in building the site. We don't enter into the strategy, so this is what we are offering a service where we help entrepreneurs to build MVP. And again, this is not strategy as in a business strategy consulting. It's just more product side.
There's a whole bunch of things right now.
We want to know next month, Sramana. I'll tell you, we offer a little bit different value proposition here.
Main question is going to be, how are you going to differentiate and how are you going to acquire customers?
Now, there to us, we are not doing any marketing at the point. It is just referrals, but we want to actually see how we can actually make it as a business. This is the first time I'm attempting to speak to someone. I put our website pretty recently. This is the first time we are speaking to someone about marketing this and just taking the calls from the friends who referred our clients. So again, as you said, there are a lot of companies who are doing. One of the try to play is a tech co-founder role, and the entrepreneur gets their team. Maybe we won't actually start at that time when they get the team. We would like to participate in team to provide value for the team, because be a wide variety of skills and be offering those skills parallel to a team, one or two tech team that they are building. They won't be able to bring in all skills that we are bringing to the table. So market need is entrepreneurs with an idea, heard he needs a tech co-founder to build a site. If he doesn't have the tech skills,
the tech co-founder,
a web developer right now.
The tech developer. The kind of founders who can actually operate as solo founders. But your point is well taken that there are others who are not developers who are trying to start technology companies and do need a developer team.
Yes, the team. It is not just a freelancer that you hire off a site where you don't have any kind of transition plan, the right product experience. Everybody who can develop, they won't be able to build a product toward a particular purpose, which is meant for validation. What is next step? They will be able to bring that, and with that experience, the thing comes up is the confidentiality. If it goes beyond the validation part, where does the code reside? Who owns the code and everything.
So we freelancers. Your competitors are the product outsourcing firms that are going to do MVP work, and there are many of those. So the question really is, how do you differentiate versus them?
Like, it's a difficult question right now because all these companies are located. They are located in every part of the world. Companies who are competitors to us. The way we differentiate is with the technology skill, because that is the primary thing you need in this business, is whether you're able to be adaptive and what the market is looking for at this point, where the market is going. That covered with the range of skill sets we have developed and the proven processes that we use. The thing is that our experience in building products. It's my co-founder Gopi. We have been building products our entire career, so we'll be able to bring that experience to the table at least early, and then we'll be able to scale that with hiring the right people in the future.
Right. It works as long as you're working in your friends network, right? When people know you and refer you that, we know somebody who can do this work well, that's fine. But working with an open market and you're competing with another set of providers who will say exactly the same things, win that business. This is the crux of the issue that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah. Commodity, yes. You said, it is part of a thing like a consulting engagement, because you need to sell your skills as ability to provide the right solution rather than any solution. So, if it becomes a commodity, we can compete on the price, which we're able to do with our stuff. But we're not planning to compete on price, even though we have that advantage. But we want to compete on the ability to conceptualize the product and the ability to the entrepreneur to realize his vision from a side. And based on the couple of examples that we have already worked, worked with a couple of entrepreneurs already, we have, I think, the target audience. So the earlier covered this. I think technical people moonlighting with a full-time job, and we've already done with the entrepreneurs is where we were able to know their idea and build a product. We worked with them at a level where the idea changed substantially for good, and we have went through the process of validation with their team. It's not the development team; it's their team, where we were able to validate, get the product to the next stage. So where we're actually going for public beta one and a other.
Again, you're going to have to network, right? You're going to have to do it through a network and kind of work with people who know you and can for your business, and you need to, just like you were giving the example of Harshal. Harshal may be a developer who's in that position of moonlighting with a full-time job, and he can do his own. But yes, you're absolutely right. There are lots of entrepreneurs. There are lots of entrepreneurs that we work with who are in that position, who are essentially we call bootstrapping with a paycheck, and we encourage entrepreneurs to bootstrap with a paycheck. We don't want people to quit their paycheck before getting to some level of validation. And you're absolutely right. Your value proposition is very good for those kinds of entrepreneurs who are non-technical and cannot build their own product. So that positioning is good. The question is, how are you going to acquire those customers? How are you going to get into the networks where those kinds of people hang, and so on and so forth?
This is we won't be able to scale this very fast either, because it is it is services business. So we need to do this. So we will actually try a few things out, and one of the things is going through these meetups, online meetups on for entrepreneurs in different cities. Right now, we are focusing on DC, Chicago, and San Francisco. We haven't started anything yet. This is just an initial wide idea at this point. So, being to help online forums, the tech co-founders and so on, going out and help people actually write blogs that attract this kind of audience. What we're doing and what they should be focusing on initially.
Yeah.
This kind of
relationships, online or offline, you're going to need to build relationships.
That's right. Exactly. And we haven't figured out everything yet, Sramana. It's just very early stage. We are having this discussion with you, and that is where again, as I said, if you convert 10 customers right now, we won't be able to service them. So we have that scale yet.
You're going to need to be very careful. We've had companies in the program who give you the details, but there was one company that specifically did exactly what you're talking about, this MV development, especially technical founders. And they've done a lot of projects. The program, they were working with premium members. So they were 1M premium members. There was a 1M premium members that they were working with. Actually, I've had this happen and started working together. There were like 2 pairs of these kinds of situations, and they really botched up the entire execution, which made the entrepreneurs, the solo entrepreneurs who were trying to use the service extremely mad. And problem that I saw is that a lot of these non-technical founders do not really know how to scope this out, and the firm does a process to mitigate that risk. So as well, there's all sorts of mismatched expectations and so forth. So be aware of the fact that this is not just your skill, your technical skill. The secret to make such a business successful predicates upon a lot of process that you need to build to be able to handle people who do not know how to spec out products.
That is we said, we be the product guy. We don't want to be the developer, because there is a difference between those two, as you said.
And then you're not coming up with the product. You're working on someone else's product who does have the experience of speccing a product.
You go through the process. Both the products that we have worked on now and the third one we are working, we are at work. We are actually, one example is that the guy came up with a paper and he just drew some things on the paper. From it, we actually started with a process and then got his ideas out. He wasn't even able to spell his idea out. So we got his idea out. We inspected out. We did a PowerPoint prototype and then HTML prototype, and then we built the application and the mobile application for the initial customers. Then we went on to build more around that, and right now it's in private.
If you are doing all of that perhaps yourself, it's fine. How do you scale it is where you're going to find it complicated. Giving you all these granular details is because this is a business that we see often. I mean, we have tons of services businesses in the program and product businesses in the program, and we have tons of entrepreneurs in the program who are trying to do exactly what you're talking about, bootstrap with a paycheck. We have seen this stuff come up, and these are the pitfalls of that business. Business can certainly be built. There's a need for this business. There is competition for this business, and the challenges of this business. Feedback to you.
And I think we take that in a very good spirit, Sramana, because we are in the early stages right now. We have the, what we need to do is to put those processes in place. It is not just my colleagues as the co-founders who have, and then scale this. We should be able to scale it with the right processes built into the system.
In terms of working with customers, you're going to need to be a premium member, and you can work with anybody you want to work with. All of the 1M services.
Remember, we just didn't renew it in the last 8 months, as you said, because of the situation we were in. So we'll get back.
Exactly how the program works. So how to build the relationships, you know how to attend the roundtables. You've been through the program, so I don't need to explain a lot to you. And just like, you know, these discussions, when I'm going through a discussion in a roundtable and people are describing what they're struggling with and so forth, you'll get to listen to those issues and you can pitch to them. You few introductions will introduce you, and all that is completely, we urge people within the program to do business with one another.
So I'll be in touch with Maureen and then take this to the next step.
Sure. We're still doing the business. I was wondering what happened to you, and I knew you were having difficulty scaling and validating the original business, and I was wondering what happened. So I'm really glad to see that you have come up with a bootstrapping with services strategy, and that you haven't gone under.
We are glad we are back into the program because we would discuss that part of the business as well. But once we become relationships in the product side, we have changed the strategy a bit. Instead of going for individual services, which is still there, the product is there, but we have to market group loyalty to so we are to target a bigger market where we will go to malls. We are speaking with a couple of companies in India who already have their foot in the mall business. So we are partnering with them where the solution will be their umbrella to market. So we are tweaking the product a bit to fit market needs at this point.
Okay. I have, I just picked up some gaps in the market in that case. So let's talk about it later. There are still gaps in the market, but you're going to have to navigate those gaps. It's become kind of overcrowded.
We'll have a separate session once I become the premium member. We'll have one of those product things. I'll show the group strategy, and then we can have the discussion.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else working with slides, Maureen, or are we going to go to the call-in session? Yeah, I saw her though in the panelist. Please move on, and if any of the other people who wanted to pitch today, come as well. Marilyn is dialing from Colombia. Okay. So, if you want to join in and chat with me, you're welcome to call in. Just let us know in public chat that you're calling in. Put your computer on mute. And the toll number that you're calling is 650-479-3208. Access code 661-578-492. Keep the phone until I ask for you, but let us know in public chat that you're calling so that I do ask for you. Wants to call in right now? To think about it and figure out what questions you want to ask, and I'm going to tell you how the 1M1M program works for those of you who are interested in learning more about 1M1M. So before we do that, in terms of the free program, we would love to have more, entrepreneurs know about the free program. So if you like what we are doing, be sure to ask people to take advantage of the program. 193 free mentoring sessions is no joke, right? Obviously, people are using it and finding it useful. So we want more entrepreneurs to know about it, and we need your help in the word around. So in terms of resources, everything is at 1mby1m.com. The way you can navigate those resources, first and foremost, there's a blog. It's a blog that is completely free and it's chock full of information. It's been going since 2005. It's been a destination for people trying to learn about entrepreneurship, and you will find tons of information free of charge on the blog. Journey's book series, of which published 5 volumes so far, and available on Amazon and Kindle. The other 99% entrepreneurs is the Kindle book, and these follow the format of analysis, synthesis, and case studies of specific aspects of our view of the world as far as entrepreneurship is concerned and how to be a successful entrepreneur, entrepreneurship ecosystem in general. So book and positioning, for instance, are 2 cornerstone elements of our program, and we urge you to take advantage of 2 principles. What kind of business you're building. You're going to position that business right, and you're going to have to bootstrap that business to a certain degree of validation before any external investor will give you money. The only thing to that is friends and family money, by the way, who invest in you. This is what the site looks like. There are tons of videos right on the homepage where you can learn about the program. We have all sorts of few videos that explain the program and the principles of the program. And the roundtables every Thursday, the free roundtables, anyone can attend from anywhere in the world. And as you see, we have somebody from Colombia trying to attend right now, or trying to pitch actually. We have slides, but she seems to be unable to connect in. But no matter where you are, you can do this call and make use of this platform. Go to the website, and under free public roundtables, you'll find the entire schedule as well as the registration pages to pitch or attend on those pages. On top of that, we have the premium program, which Senthil has been a part of already. It's offered there is extensive methodology guidance of put one foot before the other, build brick by brick. We do that through a curriculum, which is in form of lectures and case studies, and we also do it in form of interactive mentoring, similar to this session, but it's a profession and a lot more intensive. That's the strategy consulting element of the program. We also do business development where we can, and we encourage lots of business to happen within the platform, within the network. And there is a lot of business happening. People connect, people get to know one another, build relationships, and do business together. This has become a common phenomenon. Also help with financing and media relations. So if you're a fundable company and work through the program and get to the stage where you are ready to talk to investors, we use you to investors. Right, a couple of companies in the financing mode. And we do everything possible to give them lots of visibility through the media as well as through our connections, and get them situated such that investors are willing to take the meetings and talk to them, and then, get funded. Not get funded because investors also have their own quirks and so forth, but at least have a shot at, getting a series of meetings and getting a, investment. Basically, you can get an investment without meeting with investors. So, first step. And then as you get feedback from the investors, we coach you on how to tweak your, pitch perhaps, or your strategy on whom you approach, how you approach. There is financing is a very complex field. So most entrepreneurs don't really understand it, and we help you understand and navigate that in a meaningful way, and we've had quite a bit of success. Relations is another one that is very complicated. Companies that are small and don't really have funding announcements to make have a very difficult time getting any media coverage, and we that one as well. We have a lot of clout in the media, and we make sure that we get you coverage so that you become known. And there's social proof that goes with media coverage that is important when you go out to sell. So you can point to a book, blah blah publication wrote about us, and here's the article. That gives you a certain amount of credibility with your customers or prospects, which is very, very important. And of course, investors as well when you get to the financing stage. So the Mitra link on our site gives you a flavor of some of our $1 million companies who have reached $1 million. The we offer you is our ROI analysis. We offer $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value for just $1,000 annual membership fee and nothing more. It's an incredibly high value program. The orientation material on how to use the program effectively, and we encourage you to use this as much as possible because unlimited usage, you don't have to pay anything extra. It's like a gym, right? There are lots of machines, and the more those machines, the more you're going to lose weight. So it's the gym membership analogy, getting unlimited access to the program, use it well. And those people, I can guarantee you, are getting tremendous out of the program. Self-assessment is accessible also from the homepage. And these are questions that I want you to ask yourself about your business as you're going through the validation phase, as you're going through each step of the way. Come back to this, ask yourself these questions and see where the gaps are. On the site, you have lots of information about the premium program and what to expect from it, the video FAQs and so forth. So you can start evaluating whether you want to participate in the program or not. It's delivered in case studies and video lectures. In case studies since 2006. So we have the first book studies anywhere in the world right now here in program. Synthesized them and captured them in form of video lectures. Also give and what we are learning from various successful entrepreneurs. Over 600 successful entrepreneurs have participated in developing these case studies and program itself. That's what the curriculum is. It's split into 7 modules: bootstrapping, position, market sizing, customer valuation, customer acquisition, and team building and financing. And then on the side you have Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare, IT, online education, gaming. These are the elective modules. Methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. So no trader is going to tell you to hold your job and validation before you quit your job. We will. We know, we understand, we acknowledge that it takes time and resources to validate your business. And doing that, the bill needs to be paid. So I encourage you to quit your job until you feel like you have a viable business and quitting makes sense. Similarly, we are the incubator in the world who's going to encourage you to bootstrap using services. Why? Because our philosophy is you need to survive first, anything else. By, the common rebuttal against that philosophy is that you focus if you bootstrap using services. Well, if you survive, if you go out of business, what are you going to focus on? This is my, very pragmatic strategy on making a lot more entrepreneurs survive and not go out of business. So I'm actually very, very happy to hear from Senthil today, since we were with him earlier, and we knew that there was problems with the validation phase, and I'm really glad that you switched to bootstrapping services and go out of business by sticking to just that product which you were in difficulty with. So the screen right now is a page that you can access from our press page. flavor of the kind of coverage we generate for our premium members. We do this amount of coverage. We really put to work our clout in the media, and we get you out there. Our clients are finding it incredibly helpful because at their stages it's very, very difficult to get that kind of coverage. And we have tremendous social media coverage as well. So we have a very large following on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and a very large subscription-based newsletter. So many ways of also getting you out there and getting you introduced to large masses of people. And we put all this to work on your behalf. So the focus is to help you with your go-to-market. We want you to get to market. We want you to start making money, generating revenues, generating profits as soon as possible. You will have to raise money. You may not want to raise money. That's up to you. Whichever way you want to go, we will help you go in that direction. But our real objective is to help you become successful as entrepreneurs. And our definition of entrepreneurship is customers, revenues, and profits. So our whole program is developed around helping you get customers, revenues, and profits. So these are from the blog. We cover you on our blog as well, and investors monitor some of the series, like the Incubation Radar series, Deal Radar series. These are series items that we write, and these are tested by investors, and we use them to introduce you to investors often as well. A program, if you're an entrepreneurship development organization or a blog that works on, entrepreneurship, you're welcome to become an affiliate partner of the program, and we offer 10% affiliate fee. Upcoming free roundtables, November 31st, 7th, and 14th. And please make sure you book your slot, and we will work with you. Finally, book that I want to mention, those of you who haven't yet come up with your idea, you're still trying to figure out what project you're going to work on, look at Win India 2020. This is that $1 billion business ideas. It's kind of like a book that focuses on helping you generate ideas by putting you in the mix of lots of good ideas, and business fiction, as if we have companies and we're sitting in 2020 looking back how we built these companies. So there's strategy in it. And these ideas apply to any of the developing nations, Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, where there's a developing emerging market economy, and you're working on one of those, these ideas would apply. Incubator Box is our program for companies, investors, governments, schools, development organizations to launch your own incubator or to expand the services of your existing incubator using the 1M program. We operate very well as a supplemental program. We partner with lots of corporations at this point for both corporate incubation, for internal as well as external entrepreneurship development. And the newest book from the house is The Other 90% Entrepreneurs, Fortune in the Middle of the Pyramid. It's a small book, and it's easy read, and it's a very powerful book. So please, back to calling. If anybody wants to call, the call-in instructions are on your screen. You can also ask questions in public chat. Well, time to introduce yourselves. If you haven't yet introduced yourself, tell us where you're joining from, working on, what kind of projects, what kind of collabs. We love you as well. This is, just remember, this is also a networking opportunity. Anybody? All right, questions. Quiet audience today. If you don't, we're going to wrap up and move on with our day and get back to our projects. And you have a whole pile of them on your desk.
agenda, get some sleep, Maureen. So.
True, you guys are in India, so time to sleep. Absolutely. Okay. Good morning to people who are in the US, and afternoon to people in Europe. We will meet back here next week, and those of you who have wanted to talk to me and have had difficulties with technical difficulties, hopefully we'll sort out and be back here next week, and we'll have a chance to continue the conversation. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.